Jesus.
Where do those WWE tours rank for fun times on your the history of your career?
I mean, way up there.
Right.
All of them. Just that environment, that time in the business, that crew, just the cast of characters. And I was a young guy.
The funniest thing,
bro, and I hung out with Frankie the most.
Oh yeah,
because we had the five guys in the back of the bus.
Yeah, that was great.
And we had Sanders. He was funny. And Sabu. Remember when he almost fell out of the bus on the road on the highways, And then we had Luger, who was the miserable guy in the whole thing. Just he was a funny foil. During the trip and everything, because we'd be
Elizabeth was always embarrassed for him.
He was the heel. Right? He was the heel on the trip. Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
it was hysterical. But it was funny because those tours. I'd love to do another one of those.
Yeah.
Just like a reunion tour with Shark Boy. And,
you know what I saw the other day, Frankie? I don't know if you saw it.
What's that?
Yeah.
You know what I saw the other day, and I don't know if you saw it, and I think it was McManus himself. I'm not sure who it was, but they were saying that XPW was coming back, and who did you want to see? Not XPW, WWA. Yeah. WWA was coming back, and who did you want to see on WWA? Did you see that? Yeah,
I did not. That's interesting. Yeah. I wonder if it is McManus. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those were great. That first one I did of the UK, of England. We did Scotland, England. That was Ireland. Right. The first one was in Ireland. In fact, that first night in Ireland, I remember the match was Disco and Johnny Swinger against me and Nathan Jones. So
right.
Whoa. I was
That's when I broke out my.
Guess who took the heat in that match?
That's when I broke out my. Right. That's when I broke out my patented. Beautiful workers trick that I used to do, and I still have done to this day. As you remember, England was very, very expensive.
Yep.
And room service was very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So I would always order room service, right? I'd eat about 80% of it, okay? And then I'd go to the gym, which obviously we went in free, right? And then I'd come back and they'd clean my room and they took the food. And I was like, what the man, I wasn't finished with my breakfast. Oh, we'll send you another one. That was awesome. Yeah, or they wouldn't charge me.
Yeah,
you carny son.
In 30 years in the business that I spent, of all the places I've been, nothing was more expensive than the 2 days we spent in Switzerland.
Oh yeah,
on the outskirts of the thing, where literally like a turkey sandwich was like $19.
It was
ridiculous. The breakfast buffet was $50.
Like the States now.
And the taxi cab to the gym, which was like 2 miles away, was like a $40 ride.
Not only that,
it was unbelievable.
It was insultingly cold.
It was freezing.
And you just wonder, it's like, Switzerland's where they have all the banks, the watches, like all this expensive shit. It's like they just make it to where, like, if you don't have money, you can't even go there. It's what it seems like. They don't want anybody.
And you know what was cool though? What was
rich to be in Switzerland?
You know what was really cool about Switzerland? It had like an Italian and German vibe.
Right.
Yeah, it was cool. I got to go to one of those like Christmas villages that they have over in Europe. And I went in Switzerland one day and it was really cool. In fact, it was one day we wanted to go to the gym, but like you were saying, the cab rides were outrageous. And Perry Saturn paid for my cab ride there and back, and it was really cool, and let me jump in with him. Cause I mean, I was making okay money, but I was the low man on the totem pole of that tour. So I wasn't making nearly what you guys were making. And I remember going and buying a roast chicken, just like a rotisserie chicken that back then probably cost $3 in the States. And it was like $18.50.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God. Ridiculous. I ate that chicken to the very bone.
Right.
Like
including the bones.
Oh man. Unbelievable.
Now, and then did you notice this about London? Because this is one of my pet peeves, that in London, if you don't ask for ice, they don't give you ice, like with your drink.
And when you do ask for ice, they give you like a ice cube.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
At least back then they did. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That was one of my big pet peeves. And of course that it rained all the time.
So it's dreary and cold and raining. Yeah. It took a while to get used to, man.
What's the last international trip you took?
Last time I was, so the last international trip I did was right after AEW got announced. We originally had a partnership with a group over in China.
Oh yeah. The one with, what's that wrestler's name?
Shima.
From Japan. Yeah.
Shima was, yeah. So in May of 2019, they sent myself, Scorpio Sky, and CD to Shanghai, and we stayed there for a week. And we went to the school there, watched them work out. They had a top-notch facility, like a really, really nice gym that they had with the ring and weights and all types of great equipment. We spent like 5 days there. They took us out in Shanghai. We had drinks, food, everything. And the last night we did a show there. And it was one of the most unique shows I've ever done because like they don't really know what pro wrestling is per se there. So we did this show outdoors in this downtown market area, and they had the ring set up and the crowd gathered, and they had someone go in the ring and basically explain what they were about to see. So like they basically had a guy come out and they're like, this is the good guy. This is the bad guy. They're going to fight. Like they had to like kind of smarten the crowd up. But the crowd, as we, the show went on, they kind of got with it. And, the last match, we had a 6-man tag and they were into it. And they, presented us with flowers and a lot of like ceremonial things. It was really cool. It was a real cool experience. And it was my first time to China. They took us to an ancient city. It was a lot of fun, but that was the last time I was, I think, anywhere overseas. So I'm looking to get back.
Yeah, because I remember that I think I was talking with CD, and because I was looking for talent.
Yeah.
And he was telling me, oh, bro, they got some ridiculous talent here. They're still green, but they're like acrobats and martial artists, right?
Those guys, yeah. And I thought originally that was supposed to be a big part of what AEW was going to do, is they were going to bring these guys over because nobody had seen anything like it, man. Like they're doing like stuff you see in like Jet Li or Jackie Chan movies, but they're doing it in the wrestling ring. It was nuts. And I thought that was going to be a big part, but I forget the reason it didn't work out. But yeah, those guys were, and I'm sure they're still doing their thing just over there, and people really aren't seeing it, I guess. But
now,
yeah,
what was your, overall impression of China? And did you feel any of the censorship, because I remember one time somebody was writing me from China, it might've been AR Fox or somebody. And he was telling me, oh, we're having trouble with the internet here because it's censored.
Yeah, we had to. We had some trick. Jeff Jones was also over there with us, and he's kind of a wizard with social media and stuff. And he got us. We had some type of device that we got our internet.
But by the way, Frank, are you watching Conan's dog try to open the door? That's hysterical.
It's pretty great. He's like a raptor.
The dog was trying to work the door handle.
That was awesome. But no, we were able to get our internet. I don't know how we were able to do it, but it was like there was a mall across from our hotel, and we would go sometimes when we had downtime just to go shopping. And when we would walk in to a store, me and CD or me and Sky, the lady working the counter or the gentleman working the counter would come and they would shadow us just everywhere we went. They went right behind, like thinking we were going to steal, I guess. Like they
not even playing it off, like letting you know we're behind you. And
not at all.
What was it like? Because I couldn't imagine a lot of African Americans in China when Scorpio Sky walked into the car.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that probably had something to do with it, but it was just like, and we're like, man, we're not like, you don't got to worry about us, guys. Right. Like everyone, but everyone was very friendly. Like everyone in the service industry, the restaurants and bars, very cool. It's just a wildly different culture, man. Just, I wish everybody could get out to these places just to see how the other half lives and to see how like our perspective of things here in the US isn't necessarily right. It's just our perspective.
And, when I was in the Navy, I went to Hong Kong and then we crossed over into China. And, the main thing that I remember, because Hong Kong was very westernized, right? So they still had like American sports and a lot of people spoke American. Bro, when you went to China, nobody spoke English. Yeah. And there was nothing from America. Everything was Chinese culture.
Yeah, we had a handler with us, thank God, because he was same thing. Like people didn't, if they did speak English, it was very broken. So he was there to order us food or beverages or drinks or whatever. But ultimately, man, it was just a really good experience, real positive.
Yeah, because anytime you go to another country, you just learn that, you're just part of a bigger thing, and there's other culture. Picture. Yeah, right.
Yep.
I want to ask you something.
Yes.
So I'm kind of like, bro, how long have we known each other? Like 17, 18, almost 20 years.
20
years.
2002. So 20 years.
21 years, right?
Yep.
And it's funny to me, like, I'm kind of a troll on the internet a little bit, but have I changed at all from 21 years ago? Have I been basically the same guy?
Not a bit. Now, in my mind, you haven't changed at all. You're the same dude I met all those years ago, man.
why am I such a like polarizing figure? Like, because we go like with AEW, we try to get guests on the show, and they say no because of me, and it's like, and I just like, and I'm still friends with a lot of you guys and stuff. Like, what's do you find that? What do you think about that?
I mean, obviously, society has changed. That's never been more evident. We're a lot more sensitive. Everyone's careful. We're in the middle of gotcha culture. Everybody wants to get somebody or get some dirt on somebody, or and everybody is just fake outrage is everywhere, and that's just
it's like just, a guy that's brutally honest in the midst of all this is demonized
and super virtual signaling.
Yeah, it's just how it happened is anyone's guess, but it's happened, and this is the time we're living in. And
was there ever a time,
bro? But you could see it.
Joe has a question.
Go ahead.
No, Konnan can go. That's fine.
No. Go ahead, Joe.
Was there ever a time where anyone maybe mentioned to you or gave you an elbow, like, hey, maybe you shouldn't go on that show right now because the show has heat with AEW?
I was never ever told that ever.
Mm-hmm.
I was never like I could probably do whatever I want, but I was never specifically told, don't you dare go on K100.
Okay.
But that's not saying that other people were not told that.
Right.
I can't say that. I can speak for myself, but
Mm-hmm.
I was, I think they kind of knew I was going to do whatever I wanted anyways, but no, I was never told that. But I mean that, again, because if somebody has an opinion that, doesn't favor AEW particularly well for a week, someone might get set off by that and say, well, the hell with so, but it's not, it shouldn't be that way.
You can't take, Frankie, it's as simple as this, and this. If you can't accept criticism, and of course it depends who it comes from, all right? It ain't like we're nobodies that never did anything,
right?
Okay? That's for growth, not for to look at them as an enemy.
I learned early on being a pro wrestler, yes, this is a tough business physically, but dude, you got to have a thick skin,
right?
And to survive in this business, because it's way more taxing and challenging mentally if you don't have a thick skin.
We had from 1995 to 2003 or the mid 2000s, you had a locker room of thick skinned people constantly ball busting each other.
Oh yeah,
just everything. Okay, and I would say probably 98% of the locker room had thick skin. There's a couple guys that maybe right. What do you think the percentage is now?
I don't know, man. It's probably I'll tell you this, at AEW the last several years, I would change in the coaches room.
Right.
And a lot of that, the locker room's crowded. There's a lot of guys on the roster,
And who's the coach? Jerry Lynn?
Yeah, that's true, bro. Those locker rooms are mega packed.
Yeah. But also, and dude, the roster, there's a lot of guys that I think so highly of, and I get along with, and I'm friends with, and joke with. But the guys I would chill with would be Dean Malenko, Jerry Lynn, Dustin Rhodes, Billy Gunn, Mark Henry, Taz, Big Show, those guys. So those are all the guys in the coaches room. So that's kind of where I gravitated to. So I wasn't really in the locker room per se a lot, but I can only imagine that, it's. You can't say anything without pissing somebody off anymore.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Bro, I went there and twice I had to get dressed in the hall because the locker room was packed.
It's unbelievable, man. It's so crowded. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason.
Looks like the subway system.
Yeah.
Who gets the Hogan treatment there? Who's got their own rooms?
I mean, a lot of guys,
what's the name? Who?
Jericho has his own room.
Yeah, Jericho has his own room.
The Young Bucks.
So who hangs out? Who's in Jericho's? Who's that? You walk into Jericho's room. Who's there?
Usually, it would be whoever he's doing something with that night.
Who?
What some of his guys in his.
Okay, I'll tell you who was there the last time I was there.
Sammy,
yeah,
go ahead.
The last time I was there, and I went into his locker room, which is a couple months ago. The 2.0 guys were there, and this guy. Danny Garcia was there. I don't know if they were changing with him, but they were in his locker room.
Yeah, back, Cody had his own locker room. Jericho did, the Bucks did. But see, I would, I kind of had carte blanche. I would just go into any of the rooms because they're all my friends.
Right.
I would go in and hang.
I will say this: the best locker room to me was the Bucks.
Yeah, that's they had because the Bucks are in there. CD was in there often.
Are they playing music?
They got the basketball hoops there.
They have if you have the speaker and you got your phone with the Bluetooth, everything. What type of music is playing at AEW?
Well, none. If it is, it's
none.
Me. That's one thing. I would a lot of times in the coach's room, Arn Anderson would be another guy there, and I would always put on my Bluetooth, and it would usually be I try to read the room because I'm not just going to listen to metal or something, but I would listen to like classic. I would listen to classic rock, which I love. You know, the Zeppelin, Stones, Beatles.
Yes,
you know, stuff. Just all like fog.
That's the best music, bro.
100%. So like I would listen to that, and Arn Anderson would dig that too. You know, he'd be like, "Oh, this is great."
Bro, think about this. Think about this. In '74, I was 10, right?
Yep.
And that year, Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, Peter Frampton,
Who,
all those groups were just killing it. You know what I'm saying? That music, and if you look at soul music, you know, James Brown, The Temptations. I mean, all that. You know, the Motown, Marvin Gaye. Bro, Stevie Wonder,
Al Green.
What a great era for music. And you only had radio. And that's all you heard on the radio, you know?
Are we boomers or are we Gen X? Well, what are we?
I think we're Gen X.
I'm the late part of Gen X. I'm the early part of Gen X.
It's like my parents were boomers, I think. Like
right, I think parents are boomers, right? So we're Gen X.
Greatest generation, whatever that's
right. So I would say this. Okay, it's funny too, because like, you know, there's kind of like a culture war between generations now. You have the old school people and the new school people, right? Then you got the Gen Z and the what do you call it? The millennials, right? Yeah. More Gen Z. But I would say this, and like I don't even think this is arguable. It's like if you want to compare generations, it's like, dude, you can't compare our music that we grew up with. Like our music, like that we grew up with, blows away any of the new stuff in like the past, like the
heavy
past
metal
10
from
years.
The 80s.
Can you name like even 1, 2, or 3 bands off the top of your hand? They're like in the past 10 years that have come and gone, like that are even remotely as good as like the music we grew up with. You know?
I was having this discussion the other day with I forget who, but we were talking about like in our day, like guitar gods were a thing. You know,
right.
like you had like
we just lost one, Jeff Beck.
Beck, exactly. Yeah. But you had like Jimi Hendrix and Keith Richards and like
Santana,
Jimmy Page,
Slash, Jimmy Page, Zakk Wylde, like all Stevie Ray Vaughan, all these guys. And like nowadays, the guitar god is not a thing in modern music. Same with like frontmen, like Mick Jagger, Freddie Mercury, Steven Tyler, like like all these.
David Lee Roth.
They're in their 70s and they still perform.
Right. But like
in front of completely sold out crowds where there's not one single empty seat in the arena.
Right.
Right. You know what I don't like, and it also went into wrestling. I hate that era from Ring of Honor when like nobody dressed up with pageantry. You know, like Samoa Joe, who we all love, but he was just like shorts. You know, CM Punk with shorts with a t-shirt, and the rock stars were like that too. You know, jeans and a t-shirt. Bro,
and a baseball hat.
Yeah,
that's right.
The grunge era kind of ushered that in, that was counterculture to what
counterculture
hair metal was doing. You know, it was because hair metal was the opposite of that, over the top makeup, glam, hairspray, and then you got all of a sudden Nirvana's coming in and Pearl Jam and Soundgarden, and they're in jeans and flannels with their hat pulled down, looking at their shoes. You know, it was just wildly different. But you know what? That's kind of what needed to happen at that time. That shift needed to happen.
Right.
So it's funny too, because like because my job, I work in the back and I clock when the girls come to work. I clock the girls in, right? Yeah. So we open at like 7:45, and the club opens at 8:00. So between 7:45, the back door opens. Girls, the line of girls coming in to clock in, but there's no sound in the club. So it's like the DJ hadn't started, there's no music. So I play my own music, right? And I was always playing like house music because like when the girls kind of works, like you hear house music, it's like, okay, they kind of get. But bro, then I started playing like I'm just gonna start playing like old classic rock, LaGrange. You
can never go wrong with that.
Oh yeah.
Right. So bro, it's unbelievable how many of these girls have never heard these songs.
Bro, that's happened with me too.
Like LaGrange, what is it? By ZZ Top.
Yeah.
They go. What is this? It's like one of those famous
the other day I played.
It's unbelievable, right?
I can't fathom that.
Yeah.
Bro, the other day I played. You remember that song by Hall & Oates, Sarah Smile?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I played that, and they were like, "Who's that?" I go, Hall & Oates.
I play Freebird. They don't know what it is.
You know what I think is
right.
a big factor in all that is because we are of the era we're from. In our day, you had a relationship with your music. And what I mean by that is like you would physically go to the store. You'd look at the album cover. You'd turn around. You'd look at the back. You would buy the album. You would come home.
Right.
You would open the gatefold. You'd read the lyrics. You'd put on headphones. You would listen to the album start to finish. You'd read the lyrics. You'd read who produced it. You know, you read like who was the songwriters, who did the artwork. So like you kind of had a physical relationship with your music. You know, now it's like, you know, even if a band I like comes out with a song, it's like, oh, great. What does it sound like? I don't know. Let me look at this. And it's like, okay, I hear it. Cool. I like it or I don't like it. But like there's no relationship with music anymore.
Right.
Yeah, and you would read the liner notes too to see who they would
Let me
think.
ask you a question.
Top to bottom. Yeah.
Raven was really good at this because you probably know, but he was good with play a song and you could tell me like what year, you know, so like, are you like that too?
So
are you good with years and stuff in it? Like you can tell me the background of the song?
I'm pretty good. I'm like, especially, I mean, with rock, classic rock, heavy metal. Yes. I mean, I might not be spot on, but I'll give you definite ballpark. I mean, that's one of my passions is rock and metal, and just I kind of nerd out for stuff like that.
You know
Joe
what?
And I've talked about a lot of that
Frankie,
stuff,
I'm gonna. There's a show that I wanted to do with Jericho, and he told me he was gonna come on, and he hasn't. I almost feel like the apology that he never gave the disco that he's never gonna come on. But like if in the next month he doesn't, I want to have you on and a couple other like Rockophiles.
Yeah.
Pick some of the best groups of all time, some of the best lead singers. You know what I'm saying?
Say when, man.
Yeah.
I could talk rock all day.
Sweet.
You know, I'd love
Well, I'd like to say you rock nothing.
We should get you.
Just because I rock, I'm not just even though I'm made of stone doesn't mean I rock. Or what is it?
You know who'd be a perfect panel for that? You, Jericho, and Madden. Because Madden's still comes to Vegas all the time just to watch all these old school rock bands.
Yeah.
Like stuff. So
yeah, he's got good tips too. I was listening to him on your show the other day, and he was talking about one of my favorite bands, a band called Ghost. He was talking about newer bands and they're one of my favorite newish bands. So yeah,
you know what his favorite band is though? This is weird. He likes that all the old school
UFO.
Still his favorite UFO, dude. I've never really heard it. Like he likes UFO, and I haven't heard a lot of their stuff.
So there's a guy. There's a DJ named Eddie Trunk, who's very, very famous in the rock and metal community, very well respected, has been doing this for 35, 40 years. And same thing, his favorite band is UFO. It's like he lives and dies by them.
It's interesting. That a band like it's so obscure, two people, people that, wow, that's their favorite band. You know,
they're one of those bands.
He's actually, like, he's been to so many of their shows that he knows it. He's seen them have fights on stage where they had to stop the show in the middle of the show. Brother, like, it's hysterical. This band is like, they've had so much turmoil in their inner, something like it, but it's interesting.
There's a lot of drama there, and they're one of those bands that just for whatever reason didn't break big in the States
because of the drama, which was why.
Yeah, and just for one of those, there's a couple bands that just for whatever reason didn't connect in the States. When other bands from the UK were, they just fell into that category for some reason.
All right, so we're gonna set it up with you, Jericho, and Madden. All right,
Love it.
And we're gonna kick some rock. And what projects you got coming up, if any, and also where can people find you on Impact or anywhere else?
Yeah, so I mean, Impact every Thursday. I'm back. Real excited, man.
Access TV, correct?
Yeah, Access TV. Yeah, man. I'm psyched to be on Access. Going back to that show, that channel is very music centric and they have some really cool concerts and documentaries.
Right, they do.
So I'm really psyched to be on that channel. Impact every week. Very optimistic about what's going on there. Still promoting American Rebel Cigars. That's minus Cody Rhodes Cigar Company. You can check that out at stogiebird.com.
How's that doing, by the way?
Did you know Cody was leaving before he left? Did he tell you?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I knew. Yeah. I mean, I didn't know he was going to show up at Mania. I had ideas and hints, but we had talked.
He got over big time. And
your business relationship it's like he had to tell you, because like, hey, this isn't affecting our business, right?
Yeah. That's all still going strong. But no, I'm so proud of that guy, man.
Bro, I saw a video on Raw on Monday that was fucking great.
Mm-hmm.
He's super over.
I'd like to get him back on the show at some point.
Yeah,
because
he's awesome.
There's still the sour taste of like him with that tweet that the Marks keep tweeting every time where he bears it, which I don't think is like, we're on that same, like that. That's where we're at. But I'd like to get him on the show at some point again.
Yeah, that'd be great. Still got my cigars going. My band Gutter Candy is going to be on the Jericho Cruise playing this time.
Sweet. So that's next month, right?
In March, February 2nd through 6th. And,
in February, yeah.
So that's the Jericho Cruise, folks, and that you depart from Florida, right? Miami.
From Miami, yep.
Yeah.
And
don't forget your passports.
Yeah, don't forget your passports. So this is. I mean, I've been on every one of them, and I've played music on every one of them. But this is the first time my band is coming on, so it's going to be a great time. I'm also wrestling. So
has the internet on the ship gotten better? Nothing.
I think it was last year. It was a little bit better. The first year was rotten.
The first year was brutal. I will say that I beat everybody at ping pong that even dared step to me.
Yeah, I remember the first time we did the live K100, and you guys were just pouring shots of Fireball like it was water.
Oh yeah, and Chris Daniels came up and he co-hosted. No, you too.
I came up. It was me and Morrison.
And Shane Helms, I think.
And Shane Helms, and you guys were just passing that around like water, and I was like, somebody in this podcast. I can't. I hate cinnamon whiskey, but I didn't want to turn it down.
Yeah. So that was nice, and it was strong too. I'd never tried it before to that pick.
Yeah,
Shane Helms gave it to me, but I loved it.
It's fine, but after about 11 of them, it's like, all right, let's
sneaks up on you.
Bro, I was all in on that. Okay, anywhere else? Anything else you want to promote?
A lot of things coming up that I can't really disclose right now, but I will in the future. Real exciting time for me, man. This is
good.
2023 is going to be awesome, and it's great to be back on your guys' show. I listen all the time. Yeah. So, I haven't missed a beat. It's just cool to be back.
You're a friend of the show, and the funny thing is a lot of the boys listen to it. They just don't say it, but they send me little notes. Yeah. Yep. And, bro, glad to have you back. We're going to do that rock show. Yeah. Keep rocking, my friend. Say hi to Tracy, and I want to thank you one more time for being on Keeping It 100. Boom.